Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to fight a fire off-grid. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know to make yourself the most useful that you could possibly be during a fire. Okay? Now, why am I here training you? Because I called Prineville Fire's training department over a year ago and tried to set up training, and basically their opinion of everybody that lives out here is that we're out here because we hate the government. So, I gotcha. Here's what we need to do during fires. Okay, so step one, you as an individual, do you have a shovel? Do you have a fire extinguisher? Do you have water? Yes to any of these questions. Okay. The main thing that we can do fighting fires is stop the fire from getting to other structures, from spreading. Pretty much, it's always going to be that we're going to lose the structure that catches fire, because the sheer amount of water pressure and volume of water needed to put out fires, it's a lot, and we don't have that like that. So we have to manage the fires and not let them get beyond where they are currently. Okay, so if you have a shovel, you need to move things out of the way that can burn. You could maybe some embers have dropped someplace. You can take the shovel and scoop and throw a little dirt on there and make sure the fire doesn't spread that way. That's good. You could maybe even clear a fire line a little bit with your shovel, okay? If you have a fire extinguisher, you pretty much got what you got. You want to save that for something that you're actually going to be able to make an effect on. For instance, you've got one structure here on fire, and it's starting to get another structure on fire. That's where the fire extinguisher comes in. The fire extinguisher isn't going to stop the structure. Ideally, you can get water on the secondary structure to keep it from going up. But if all you have is a fire extinguisher, you literally need to wait for the fire to start. Stand there, it's smoking, then little fire extinguisher, okay? Keep the secondary structure from going up with your fire extinguisher. But that's pretty much, you just got to be there. You got to be there, you got to be watching it, and you might not even use your fire extinguisher. But your job as a person that has a fire extinguisher is to post up on a structure that could potentially go up. Okay. If you have water, okay, obviously everybody knows what to do with water, okay? But how much water do you have? How much water pressure do you have? Okay? Full engulfed structures, you're not going to be able to put them out until they've pretty much burned themselves out, and then you can put the final load on it. Okay. So let's say you're a person, you don't have a shovel, you don't have a fire extinguisher, you don't have water. Okay, well, you still can be useful. Okay, number one thing you need to do is make sure you're not in the way. Make sure your vehicle is not in the way. You then can make sure other people's vehicles don't end up in the way. Make sure other people don't end up in the way. We need roads clear of cars from where the fire is to where the people with the big tanks of water can get in and get up close to the fire, okay? That means if you show up early to the fire and you do not have a fire extinguisher, you do not have a shovel, you do not have water, but you have a phone, park your car off of the road, out of the way, even if you have to drive back away, out of the way, and then post up calling people and traffic directing. Be a useful person telling people exactly what I'm telling you now. You tell them, do you have a shovel? Do you have a fire extinguisher? Go to the front of the line. Make sure your vehicle is not blocking the roads. We need all the vehicles that show up that have water to be able to immediately get in there without having to have all these people that don't have any firefighting equipment at all, and their vehicles are in the way. They don't have a shovel, they don't have a fire extinguisher, they don't have water, but their car's in the street. That is no bueno. Okay, so now, if you're a person like myself that has heavy equipment that you can throw at the fire, that is the little bit of information I did get out of Prineville Fire, was how to manage a fire with heavy equipment. And basically, is a larger scale of what I kind of described with shovels. Okay, so if you have heavy equipment, your job is to make a road accessible from a road to the fire. So you got to knock down fences, you got to cover ditches, you got to plow through things, whatever they may be, to make a road so the trucks, the vehicles with the water, can get to the fire, can get right up close to it, okay? That and moving big things, trees, knocking trees down, getting them away. Anything that might burn that's around the fire, move it with the backhoe as rapidly as possible. Now, I've fought 3 fires with my backhoe, and the first 2 fires I had to have all my hydraulic lines on the buckets replaced. And after the second fire, I called Prineville, and the second fire I was burying the fire, and then Prineville said, don't bury the fire, okay? So if you have a backhoe or heavy equipment, don't bury the fire. That's bad. You want to cut fire lines. You want to prevent the fire from going anywhere else. That is the main thing. To actually be able to stop these structures from going up, the amount of water pressure needed to put out these fires, we just don't have it. We can't get it there fast enough to realistically want to go down the street of trying to save the structure that's on fire, right? That can't be the focus. If there's nobody there at the property, and that's another thing too, is making sure there's nobody in the structures. That's a tough one. Risking people to go in when there's no cars parked outside or anything like that. Like, don't go into a fire, right? Don't go into a fire. I can say that from experience. I ended up in the hospital for 5 days. I went into the fire, okay? Without the proper equipment, going into the fires, you're pretty much going to end up bad and not produce any positive results almost every time, okay? So, let's recap. You show up to a fire. You have no tools. You want to make sure your vehicle and yourself is out of the way. You can get on your phone and you can start calling everybody you know and telling them, and acting as a traffic control person, okay? Tell people, don't park in the road. We got to get water in there, okay? Be serious and be loud and be direct and be telling people exactly. Just tell them. Just don't park there. Move your car someplace else. We don't have time for fucking niceties during fires, okay? You can just say, move it, and don't, but just, well, hi, how you doing? Yeah, do you want to move? No. That's not how it goes down in a fire. Now, if you're early into the fire and you don't have those things and you don't have what it takes to do what I'm telling you to do right now, go home. Get the F out of the area. We do not need gawkers. We do not need people with their phones videotaping the fire. We don't need that. We need people with shovels, people with water, people with fire extinguishers, knowing what the program is and all doing what we're supposed to do to get the situation under control, okay? Let's not have any more fires. Well, that's totally unrealistic, okay? So we could do a lot of things to really, we could set up communications and a fire thing, and we could do a lot of stuff. But a lot of people out here don't want to do anything as a community to, protect ourselves. So, some people do, some people don't. Well, here's something that everybody can do, because if you don't want to have anything to do with the fire and you don't want to, just go away. So the people that do what I say. It's a pretty simple operation, okay? Peace. Have a nice day.